Diane Fursat, and I'm a program manager at Freedom House. Freedom House is a nonprofit organization dedicated to spreading and defending democracy around the world.
My name is Rebecca Price, and I run the mediation program for the U.S. District Court for the Southern District of New York.
Hello, my name is Michael Haley. I am a former participant in the HNMCP clinic when I was a law student, but I'm also a client of the HNMCP. I currently serve as the Assistant Director of Charitable Trusts at the New Hampshire Department of Justice.
In Tanzania, Freedom House is working on a program that sought to create platforms for civil society coordination on advocacy initiatives. We did this through working groups on key human rights issues such as women's rights. As the program was coming to a close, Freedom House wanted to know whether the working groups wanted to function after the end of the program, and if so, how we would do that. That's when we reached out to the clinic for their assistance.
I have had 2 projects with the Harvard Negotiation and Mediation Clinical Program. They were about 2 years apart. The first project had to do with diversity of neutrals in the courts programs. A couple of years later, we did a second project with the clinic, which was focused around commercial cases, which is a type of case we don't see a lot of in the courts mediation program.
One of the roles that we serve is a statutory duty to review all acquisition transactions of healthcare charitable trusts in the state. So we contacted HNMCP because as overseeing or reviewing these transactions, we want to make sure that the ultimate beneficiary of the charitable services, the public, is able to continue to enjoy the benefits of whatever transaction occurs. And the conflict that can arise can get in the way of the public enjoying those benefits. So we wanted to know what is it that makes one of these affiliations successful and what is it that can lead to conflict.
We met with the clinic on a regular basis to discuss the progress of the project. The clinic students then reached out to our partners in Tanzania to conduct surveys and interviews. The clinic also conducted their own research on coalition building, reaching out to experts around the region.
Being a client of the program means that you have weekly meetings with the students and with their faculty member. There's an agenda for every meeting. It's very in-depth, and the students and the professor are really doing a deep dive into the project. They really want to understand the needs of the client, the institution that the client is part of, and they're very thoughtful about doing a lot of preliminary interviewing, researching, to come up with a project framework that's going to meet the needs of the client.
At the end of the project, the clinic recommended that Freedom House and its partners develop sustainability plans for the working groups, which would involve defining the working group's mission, structure, and communication plans. The clinic also recommended that Freedom House conduct workshops on sustainability plans. To help us with this, the clinic developed a guide for facilitating these workshops.
I think that the expertise that the HNMCP clinic and the instructors bring to the clinic allows them to really take the lead on the projects, and that's helpful to us a lot. We have an awful lot to do in our office. We have 2 attorneys and we regulate 12,000 charities. So it was really, really wonderful that the students took so much initiative and really ran the project themselves. They sought our input when they needed it, but for the most part, we were not hand-holding. They really took the lead.
They dedicated a tremendous amount of time. I mean, really more than I ever would have imagined. And as did their supervisor, dedicated a tremendous amount of time. So every call that I had with them, they had clearly been meeting in advance. They had clearly prepared for it. They digested the information after the call. I received frequent updates, emails, clarifying questions. It's really a pretty robust relationship that you create with them.
The work of the clinic had a significant impact on Freedom House's programming. Freedom House used the facilitation guide to conduct workshops in Tanzania on sustainability plans. Freedom House also used the research of the students to develop our own internal resources on coalition building. We also shared the guide with our offices across the continent so they can ensure that their working groups are also sustainable.
So we think that this project will have a huge impact, not just on our office, but on the whole state. Healthcare charitable trusts are an extremely important part of the community. Many very small communities who have only one community hospital, that hospital is really a hub and a center for the economics and the employment and the health and safety of the community. So these are extremely, extremely important organizations that we want to see be successful in the state. And we think that this report is going to help them quite a bit.
I think important to say that the students add a very unique perspective. They're at a different stage in their careers than I am, for sure. And they're also in a different environment than I am. So when we were talking about things like diversity, for example, they had a lot to draw from that was very different than what I had. But again, this perspective that the students brought to the problem really changed the way that we as a program thought about the problem.